Hey friends, in this video we're going to talk about outdoor audio. It's springtime. We thought it was a good time to give you a few tips about your outdoor audio. We're not going to cover outdoor surround sounds. We'll cover that in another video, but otherwise we're going to cover all things for your outdoor music. So we actually use 3 different applications for our outdoor surround sound. We use deck speakers for both covered decks, or if there's no covered deck, we'll put speakers on wall above windows or sliding glass doors. Then we're going to use rock speakers. You may have seen these at somebody's home around their pool. They're really just a standard speaker inside of a housing that looks like a rock. That's why they call it a rock speaker. And then we have landscape speakers, which are my favorite, and I'll tell you about that in a second. Now, when we do homes, we often see a mixture of both. Right where the barbecue is or right there on the covered deck, we like to have music that's right there using traditional speakers. If there's a covered deck, we're going to use in-ceiling speakers most often. Again, if there's not a covered deck, we're going to use on-wall speakers. They have speakers that are built for this application. They're weatherproof. They're not going to rust. They're not going to damage with time. And they do give you a really good sound on the back deck. Rock speakers are more of the same thing. It's no different than any audio speaker you have on the inside of your home, except for, again, as I mentioned, it's housed to look like a rock. It sits next to your pool. You're usually going to run them in pairs, one on each side of the pool, and sometimes you may have a subterranean subwoofer out there with your rock speakers just to make sure that you get a good full sound, and it's going to allow you to play speakers right by the pool. Now, the problem with these speakers, though, both the deck speakers and these rock speakers, is that if you want to light up the whole yard, it creates a lot of volume and all the neighbors hear it. We did some outdoor audio for a client at a Pareto home, and every night the builder would get yelled at by the neighbor for having the volume running too loud, and we would come back the next day and find out that all the outdoor speakers had been turned down, and then we would turn them back up. Of course, the neighbor didn't like that very well, but we had a good time. So here's the cool thing about landscape speakers. The big thing is that with landscape speakers, it creates this really even sound throughout the whole area. So one of the first homes where we installed landscape speakers was for a sport court. It was a basketball court, tennis court, pickleball court, all in one. And we put landscape speakers all the way around this court. And what was really cool about it is when you're out at the basketball court, you get this even sound all the way around. No matter where you're at on the court, you're hearing the same level of sound. This sounds very localized to that sport court. So the neighbors and people elsewhere in the yard, they're not going to hear this big boomy sound. It's not going to be distracting or disturbing. But the people there at the sport court hear it as loud and evenly as they want it to sound. And here's one of the really cool things about landscape speakers. You can still have your bass. If you're into good bass with your music, you can still have it, especially something like a sport court and you really want it to be boomy. They have subterranean subwoofers. They actually go below the ground, and then they have a little snorkel that comes out of the ground. They have 10-inch and 12-inch subwoofers. A lot of the applications, you'll actually bury 2 of these subterranean subwoofers around the zone where you're using your landscape speakers, and it sounds incredible. Now, I'll be totally honest with you. Everybody here at our team was excited about landscape speakers way before I was. I kicked against landscape speakers as long as I possibly could. We had one supplier after another walk through these doors and beg us to put landscape speakers into a home, and I would not do it. It does cost a little bit more than a pair of Rockscape speakers, and I didn't think our clients would want it. We finally put it into this client's home with the sport court. He asked for a 2nd set next to his fire pit, and the very next summer he asked for a 3rd set next to his pool, and then he wanted a 4th set in the front of the house for his Halloween and Christmas music. All of our clients that saw that home wanted landscape speakers. The next year we had a Pareto home. We put landscape speakers in the front yard. We left them there as a demo. The client didn't buy them. When the parade was over, the client bought the landscape speakers from us. An existing client came to us in a panic and said, we already wired our home. We already moved in. We have to have landscape speakers in our backyard. Is our yard too small? And we said, absolutely not. Your yard's not too small. We can light it up with landscape speakers. It's going to sound phenomenal. And especially where your yard's so small and your neighbors are packed in so tight and close, you're going to be able to enjoy your music a lot more in your backyard than your other neighbors because you can localize it right where you're at without disturbing the neighbors. It was a phenomenal solution. So my point in all that is that when people experience landscape speakers, they always want landscape speakers. So for our design clients, every single PREWIRE design that we put out includes a PREWIRE for landscape speakers. And if you live in an existing home and you didn't PREWIRE for landscape speakers, don't worry, there's some workarounds for you. You can use something like a Sonos Connect or a Play-Fi Connect from somebody like Paradigm. Place that in your garage or a location near the exterior of your house where it has power. Feed that into an amplifier and run the wires from that amplifier location out to the zone for your landscape speakers. Very easy to do, and it ties back in with your smart home system. Couple of things about your outdoor audio. All outdoor audio, whether it's covered deck speakers or porch speakers or rock speakers or your landscape speakers, they're all weatherproof. You don't have to winterize them or take them in during the winter and pull them back out. You can leave them out all year round. They're gonna work. They're not gonna rust. They're not gonna go bad. They're built for the application. The other thing to know about outdoor speakers, but specifically landscape speakers, they're so popular. Every major speaker brand out there either has a line of landscape speakers or they're currently getting ready to launch a line of landscape speakers. So Paradigm, Sonance, Klipsch, True Audio, you name it. If there is a speaker line that you're using for the inside of your home, odds are they have a line of landscape speakers you can use as well. As always, keep the comments coming. We love chatting with you. We'd love it if you'd like, subscribe, and share, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.